theyeshiva.net.
Good morning, everybody. So let's continue inside. Daf Chav Zayin Amud Gimel, Chav Zayin column 3, page 54. The line starts Hapirud. A little below the middle of the page. 54, the first column. Middle of Hine Anachnu Ma'almim. Hapirud, you see. The last line the Balatanya said was that Kol HaKarev Karev. Israel, this just today, yeah. Sheng Bakumen. Ki Kol HaKarev Karev Yosher Elav Yizbarach. Whatever is closer, whatever in its consciousness is closer to the reality of the divine, Yesh ba Yosher habitul va'achdos. You'll see its existence is defined by more bittul and more achdos, more unity and more transcendence. The further, the more division, the less bittul, the less achdus. And in Asiya he says, Nasa hapirud v'haribu b'yoser. Yeah. Line starts hapirud. V'zeu shekasuv. This is the meaning of the pasuk in Bereshis. When the creation is described, after the world is created. So the Torah says that the Nahar Yoitze Meyedin Lahashkas Asagan. Hashem placed Adam, the first person, in a gan called Gan Eden, Garden of Eden, to preserve it, to work it, La'avda, L'Shamra. And then he says, V'Nahar Yoitze Meyedin Lahashkas Asagan. A river leaves Eden to irrigate the garden, Umisham Yiparid. And from there, from the Gan, the river splits, and it goes into 4 outlets, which become 4 rivers. He says, remember the 4 rivers. There's the river Pishon, Gichon, Chidekel, which is the Tigris, and the last one, Vanar Haravi, Hu Nahar Pras, the 4th one, which is Pras, the Euphrates. Pishon is usually defined as the Nile Delta, according to Rashi. Gichon is very heavily debated. And finally, Chidekel is still called the Tigris and the Fras Euphrates. So there's Eden. A river leaves Eden and brings water to Gan, to the garden. A garden needs water. Garden can't live without water. From there, from the garden, the river splits. One river splits. This is where Adam is placed. So what's the meaning? Hanar, hanimshich meyeden. So the vocabulary again that's going to be used is the vocabulary, the terminology of Kabbalah and Chassidus. And it's important to understand the concept that's being conveyed. Hanar, hanimshich meyeden. The river that flows, nimshach means it flows, hamshacha. It flows from Eden, shehu chachma d'Atzilus. Eden represents the first divine characteristic of the world of Atzilus, which is the world of oneness. B'yoser nimsheches vayleches derech kol olam Atzilus ad hagan ubchinas malchus d'Atzilus. The river is a flow of energy all the way from Eden, which is chachma, and it flows through the whole world of Atzilus until it irrigates the garden. It comes from the Eden all the way to the garden. The garden is the term for Malchus of Atzilus, which is the 10th characteristic, the 10th sphera, the 10th faculty of Atzilus, which becomes the source for the next world. The garden becomes the source for the next world. But hu hakol nar echad, over there it's one river. Adayin mushlal megedere is chalkos betachlos. It's still completely devoid, not only of division, but of the entire realm of division, the entire definition of division. Absolutely. Over there, there's only oneness. Ki ba'atzilus ihu v'garmo yichad. Because in the world of Atzilus, meaning in the consciousness, in the paradigm of Atzilus, Iyuhi, it's an expression of Zohar, Iyuhi, the Garmoi, and his, the word garments. The word garments comes from Garmoi. His garments, meaning his levushim, his characteristics, the spheroids, the kalim are one. What says they're one? Shem bebchinas bitul amiti lematzilon. They experience themselves in complete oneness, complete alignment, without an ego, with complete bittul, which is the cessation of ego, lema'atzilon, one with their ma'atzil, their emanator, their source. So even though you have chachma, bina, chesed, gvura, which are so different personalities, it's back to the beis, reish, vav, and chaf. It's one word. Because the soul is felt. The soul is felt. I express it this way, you express it this way. But there's a complete oneness. It's the exact antithesis of pirud, of division, of fragmentation, and ribui of the experience of multiplicity, There's 10 spheres, what's experienced is the oneness, because there's the river that flows. But the moment the river hits the head, the beginning, the origin of the world of Bria, not the world of Atzilus, the same river now, same water, it now suddenly splits into 4. It's not a new river, it's the same river. It's the same flow of consciousness, but something shifted. From oneness comes multiplicity, from complete cohesiveness comes fragmentation. Something shifted. Same water. Im kol zeh nisparet, it becomes fragmented. These are known in Kabbalah as the 4 camps of the Shechina, meaning they're all holy. Pnei Aryeh, this is the world of Bria, the vision of Yecheskel, chapter 1, known as the Merkava. Pnei Aryeh Layam, in the face of the lion, on the right, Pnei Shor, face of the bull, the ox is Mehasmoil, he doesn't continue, but it is the face of the eagle and the face of the human being. 4 camps, Arba Roshim. Ach, heim chalokim koilelim adayin. But here there's still chalokim, different sections, but each one is very encompassing. Meaning, shekol chelik mem koilel kama pratim rabim. Each one of the 4 includes many details. But as the river continues and evolves even further, from the camp of Malach Michal, known as the face of the lion, what's known in the Sfarim of Kabbalah as another 186,000 dimensions that are divided, which is known as the camp of Michal, the entourage of Michal. What was the face of Anachnu? There's the whole machana of angels of Gavriel. But this is still all in Olam Abriya. It begins with 4, and then it further devolves into more pirud, more ribui. From 186. Ubi Yitzira. Now there's a new world, Yitzira. The river is now divided in yet many more particles. Sheheim kol, shehein arucha is the Yitzira. These are all the spirits, meaning all the spiritual energy of Yitzira. And then of Asiya, there's a new world Asiya. Here the division yet takes on, it accelerates even more intensely, which creates all of the souls of the world called Asiya. All a symptom, all a result, a consequence of the process we began talking about, the breaking, the shattering of the vessels. Meaning the Caleb are not anymore facilitating the one oir, because if they would, there would be only one river. According to this, we understand it's not the vessel breaks once. It crumbles. So you have 4 pieces from 1-4. But now it crumbles pirur achar pirur, crumb after crumb. Meaning the crumb itself is then divided into so many crumbs. Each crumb, and so on and so forth. V'ribuy achar ribuy, more multiplicity and more multiplicity and more multiplicity. Commotion is bayalel. In parentheses, he adds, it's not a physical parenthesis, he's just adding, Achamalachim, you have malachim, which are already repaired in a world called Tikkun, which is post-Shviras HaKelim. V'zeu hanikra v'asher mishars of kulam oimdim. We say in the davening in the morning, Tizbarich lanetzach tzureinu malkeinu, Yishtabach shimcha malkeinu yoytzim misharsim, Hashem mishars of his servants kulam oimdim b'rumaylam, they stand in the height of the world, umashmiim b'yiri yachad b'kel divrei elokim chayim, ubchinis yoytzim misharsim hem mezbarim b'chal yom. Hashem mishars, Yishtabach shimcha malkeinu yoytzim misharsim, v'asher misharsim kulam oimdim b'rumaylam. So he says, Hashem Misharsim stand, and Yotzim Misharsim is, why twice? Because there are those that are misbarer every day from Tayu, from Shviras HaKelim into the world of Tikkun. V'hinei k'moishu b'malachim kach al derech ze nimtze b'neshamas. We learned in the beginning that Shviras HaKelim affects 3 things: malachim, neshamas, and koiches alakim, the divine koiches. We just learned about the Malachim, Michal, Gavriel. The same is true with souls. Through the tremendous descent of layers of consciousness throughout the evolution of the worlds, Shtalshalus comes from the word Shalshelis, the chain. Souls also crumble, they divide into small particles. And again, more and more and more. Kidala digle midbar. It starts off with the 4 flags in the desert. Neshamas Yisrael were divided into 4 flags, 4 directions, right? Those who dwelled in the east, and in the Durham and south, Ma'ariv in west, and in Safed in the north. And each one had a flag, and that flag included 3 shvatim. So you had 3, 6, 9, and 12. Each unit of 3 had its own flag. Parshas Bamidbar. Hey, misper sharsha neshamas b'olam habriya. Those flags are indicative. They capture the source of the souls the way they're in Bria. And in Bria, there's 4 groups of Jews. Just 4 groups. Not bad. 4 groups. In Atzilus, there's no 4, there's 1. In Bria, there's 4. The river split into 4 groups. The same water. That's why there's 4 Degalim. V'nishmas Yehuda, Yehuda. You had the soul of Yehuda. It encompassed all the souls in the Machna of Yehuda. As we said, every flag encompassed 3. There was the leading Shevet and the other 2 that were under its flag, its tutelage, and they traveled together, a specific direction. The flag had a color. The flag had a shape. The flag represented a certain identity, a certain quality that was unique to these 3 Shvatim. But for that, you had to have the consciousness of Bria. It's included in the soul of Yehuda. But then, that soul is divided into many individual souls, all in his flag, which are not from Shevet Yehuda. You have Shevet Yisachar, you have Shevet Zvulun. So there's already more division. There's Yehuda himself, there's the Shevet Yehuda, and which includes the other 2, and then there's the way you get more specific, the other Shvatim. From 4, it turns into 600,000, still in Olam Abriya. Yes, you could take the 600,000 and trace it back to 4, but ultimately you had 600,000 souls And one was not a copy of the other. It was 600,000 different souls. Each one has its name, its uniqueness, its mission, its identity, its raison d'etre, its color, its shape. Ki ha-Torah, here's a line. Ki ha-Torah medaberes hakol ba'olam habriya. The stories of Torah are basically an X-ray of the world of Bria. Because the Torah is talking about creation, it's talking about the world. It's not talking about pre-creation, it's talking about the world. But which world? If you want to understand that world, you have to have an X-ray into the world of Bria. Then you can understand the stories of Torah. After Shviras HaKelim, yeah. After Shviras HaKelim. All Bria comes after Shviras HaKelim. But you have to have the glasses of Bria. You have to have the microscope of Bria to understand the consciousness that's operating in those stories. A line. Ha-Torah medaberes hakol ba'olam habriya. Torah speaks in Olam Habriya. There's 4 flags, of course, because in Olam Habriya there's 4. And then it gets to 600,000. Aval b'Yitzira. The moment you're wearing the glasses of Yitzira, sorry, this story changes. You're seeing something else. You're not dealing with 600,000 anymore. Now the particles are accelerated in great numbers. Because you entered into the realm of Ruach. From Neshama, you entered into the realm of Ruach. Ruach is a lower state of consciousness. There's Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama. Nefesh is associated with Hasiyah. Ruach is associated with Yitzira. Neshama is associated with Bria. Again, this is the mystical vocabulary. It represents the fact that with each state of consciousness, there is less a sense of oneness. So with the Ruach of Yitzira, the numbers grow dramatically. And it's not a lie, it's the same river. It's the same river, but what I see is many more numbers. Ubasiyah, once you go to Asiyah, hamisper shel hanefashos da'asiyah hu gadol yosem mekulam. The numbers of nefashos, he changes to the word nefashos, from ruach to nefesh. Because it's nefesh, the numbers of souls reaches the highest number in terms of multiplicity and in terms of division. Yet the 600,000 souls with which we began in Bria, heim shekvar niskenu, v'nizbareru mishviras hakelim v'nichlu b'olam hatikkun, are those that were already fixed and refined after the breaking of the vessels and are included in the new world called Olam Hatikkun, the world of repair, which we'll later understand what that means. So this is the process of the neshamas evolving or devolving through the worlds. And just as you have the shvira, the shattering of the vessels. What do we mean by shattering? We mean multiplicity and division in souls and in angels, as discussed. Starts with 1, goes to 4, and then devolves into so much more. The same process exists with the divine koiches, the divine energy, the divine koyach that animates all of creation. The descent of the worlds means that the divine energy divides into, and here the word particles is quite accurate, into enormous quantities of particles, creating the unique chemistry of every individual existence, every individual nivra. No 2 things are alike, even if they're similar. V'nispazru lebri yitzirasiyah. The koiches get scattered from oneness. In Bria, they scattered, Yitzira even more scattered, Asiya more scattered. What do we mean scattered? It's giving life. It's giving life to something in a way that that something is perceived as self-contained, as separate, and therefore different and divided from its neighbor. The more the descent of the divine energy. What do we mean descent? It doesn't mean literally it goes down a sliding pan or goes down a slope. Yeridas HaMadregas means, in terms of consciousness, more remote from its own source, its own oneness. Nisra b'yoser hapirud, the fragmentation is accelerated. Dahainu, shekol chelik v'chol nitzutz, nischalek oid l'nitzotzes v'chilukim rabim. What in a higher world remained one spark, in a lower world is now divided into so many more particles and so many more sparks, even though they're really one. Similar to what we said about angels and about souls. It's known, the beginning of creation, it says Hashem created the heaven and earth, and the earth was soyu, the second pasuk of Bereshis, right? The earth was tohu vavoyu. Tohu means chaos. Tohu is chaos. Vavoyu, and literally translated devoid, a place of voidness. Darkness on the abyss. And the Spirit of God hovered over the face of the water. That's how the genesis of creation is described. In the beginning, Hashem created heaven and earth. Earth was chaotic and empty. Darkness on the face of the Sahaim, on the abyss. Everything was dark, and there was a spirit of Hashem merachefes al pnei hamayim. Those two psukim contain the whole story of the universe, but how are you supposed to understand them? In the beginning, God created heaven and earth. What was it like? Tohu vavoyu. So in the writings of Kabbalah, especially the writings of the Arizal, he sees the second pasuk as indicative of Olam HaTohu, a world called Tohu, chaos, and the reason it's called chaotic is because all the vessels broke. A successful world that's not chaotic is a world in which there is a symbiosis, a synchronization, an integration between Ur and Keli, between energy and vessel, between the light and the container of the light. But when the Kelim are broken, so now the light scatters all over the place, and it's not anymore manifested through the vessel, certainly not in a structured and organized way, because the vessel's shattered, as we spoke with the Beis and the Reish and the Vav and the Chav. It's not a Keli anymore. It doesn't carry that Ur. That process is called Shviras HaKelim. That created a consciousness, a world called Tohu. That process itself, there's the breakage, the way it's manifested in Bria, in Yetzirah, and all the way in Asiyah. So he says, Kihini yadu al pasuk v'ruach elikim mirachefes. Mirachefes is reish peiches meis. The spirit of Hashem mirachefes. Mirachefes in Hebrew means hovers, right? Mirachef, like you'll say oif, an eagle mirachef it. Yeah. Hovers, yeah. Like the bird hovering over its nest. So he says, Menachef is a combination of two words. Reish Peches Meis. Ruach Elikim, the spirit of Hashem, Merachefes. Reish Peches, 288 Meis died. What does this mean? Tahainu, Reish Peches Nitzutzin Shenoflu Meilam HaToyim HaKelim Shenishberu. There are 288 divine sparks that fell down. They went through a nefila, a fall, from the world of chaos together with the vessels that broke. That Baruch, we go back to the Baruch. The light that comes out through the word Baruch is connected to the letter Beis, Reish, Vav, and Chaf. Together they bring out that concept. When they're fragmented, you don't have that concept anymore. But something stays. The Kalim were shattered, so they're not manifesting the Ur. But every Keli has with it its nitzutzis, its sparks. It's not a cohesive story. It's not clear in the Keli because the Keli was broken. So he says you have 288 sparks that fell together with the vessels that were shattered. Misperesh peches. Why 288? Hubchines hapirut shel hanitzutzen shenaflu k'mo shehayu adayin ba'atzilus shezeu reishis yiridason she'oz nispardu lemisperesh peches v'zeu reish peches meis. The number 288 represents the fragmentation of the divine sparks, which all went through a transformation, a traumatic transformation, so to speak, if we could use that word, because they went through a nefila, they fell. And when the fall represents that they're not recognizable, the identity pre the nefila is not recognizable anymore in my identity post the nefila. But this is all the way the sparks were in Atzilus, and then they went through the Nephila of Shviras HaKelim, which is the beginning of their descent, and hence 288. So Mirachefes describes that. Remember, he said that the first Shviras HaKelim, they end up where? In Ban of Atzilus, which is the source of Biyah. So we have 288. But once it comes into Bria, as I call nitzutz mirapach nitzutz manal shabatzilus neschalik shom b'Bria lechalokim rabim moed. Every spark of the 288 in Atzilus is divided in the world of Bria to many, many different, many diverse particles. Kshenofel meBria liyitzira. From Bria to Yitzira, again, as in Eschalku oid l'chalokim v'netzutzim k'tanim, yet smaller particles and sparks. V'chein miyitzira la'asiyah, Neschalku v'nespardu oid b'yoyser, la'alofim u'lerevavis. From 288, you end up with thousands, and then revavis, which are myriads, or revavis 10,000, myriad. So revavis are myriads, etc. Ubazayuvon, this gives some perspective. That the Golus, the exile, continues for so long, more than 1,700 years. Today the number changed, yeah. This is Tafkuf Samachet. This is 1804, 1805. And the Churban Habayis was in the year 70 after the Common Era, right? That's why he says more than 1,700 years. Because it wasn't 1,800 years yet. It was more than 1,700 years since the Churban of the second Beis HaMikdash. Says the Galus continues for more than Yud Zayin Meis Shana. 1,700 years. 1,700, more than that. V'yadua, it's known, Sha'akavona ha'koil levarer harafach nitzutza. The objective of Galus was to elevate the 288 sparks, ukshayugmuru habirurim. When these birudim, when these elevations are complete. Yaveh Mashiach b'heira b'yameinu, amen. Mashiach comes speedily in our days, amen. V'imkeinu tamua. If so, one ought to ask, b'chi efsher, shaloi nisbarer adayin reish peches netzutzim b'meshech rav kazeh, asher dor hoilich v'dor ba v'chalechad mi'yisrael mevarer chelke shetzarech levarer. Is it possible that 288 sparks of Toyu were not refined and sublimated during this span of time? A generation leaves and a generation goes, and every single Jew elevates his chelek, his part of the universe that was given to him to be mevarer, to elevate. Umagam, furthermore, misparan shel Yisrael shetzichim levarer harafach im samach riba k'yitzim Mitzrayim. The number of Jews originally that was designated to elevate the 288 sparks, were samach riboy, 600,000 souls, like the Jews who left Egypt. As we said, that's the source of Neshamas Yisrael. They're given this job. Bareyata, Baruch Hashem, Yisrael, Rabim Yosem and Misperzeh, Yosef Hashem Aleim Chuli. And now he says, Baruch Hashem, the number of Jews exceed greatly the number of 600,000 Jews that left Mitzrayim. The 600,000 Jews left Mitzrayim, who are supposed to elevate these sparks. And he says, Abracha Yosef Hashem Aleim Kachem Elef Pam, may God increase them more and more. The Kol Shekem, this is even today, in his day. The Kol Shekem Bizmana Kadmoinim, certainly if you go back in history, Shoyanim Tzekfarim, Shoyabem Yosef Mesamach Riba, K'mashakasa B'Gemara, Kfar Shachlayim. The Gemara speaks about certain towns or cities where you had more than 600,000 Jews. The Gemara speaks about a kfar called Kfar Shachlayim, the town of Shachlayim. So 288 sparks take so long to be mevarer. More than 1,700 years, so many generations. Each Jew does his or her part, especially with so many Jews, so much more than the original 600,000. Elo shehu mishum shalamata ba'asiyah nispardu hanitzutzes la'alofim u'revavis ein misper. The number 288, again, is the way you go back to the source. But in the world of Asiya, the sparks are divided into thousands and myriads, and really ein misper. We can't even have a number for them. Misper afpachu ba'atzilus. In the world of Atzilus, where there's a world of oneness, after the Shvira, there's 288. Rapach Meis, 288 sparks went through what's called a death experience. The shvira is so powerful, it's called mace, death. And you're talking about the divine sparks. That's what shvira sakelim is. It's a form of, the soul is snuffed out of it because the kelim break. So the netzutzes are different netzutzes, but it's still 288. But v'shamim gamkin misper samach ribin neshamas klolos. And over there, 600,000 souls deal with 288 sparks. It actually works. Over there, you have 600,000 souls. Why? Because each soul encompasses many souls. Because there's much more oneness. It's like branches of a tree. Existing, growing from one root. There's one root. That one root doesn't include one fruit, not one tree, one fruit. That one root can have many branches and many leaves and many fruits. But you have to go to the root level. If you go to the root level, the many become one. So you have millions and millions become 600,000. How? It's like a mother who's a mother of every child, of many children. It could be a large family. That's on a mother level. That's the way the mother sees her family. But the way the family comes out, sometimes you have brothers who don't talk to each other. For the mother, doesn't make sense. So you all in my womb. What are you acting a chinik? What does Rivka say? Lama eshkal shneichem yoim echad. Why am I going to lose both of you one day? You came out of the same place. You think you're really that different? Yeah, mommy sees even her 60-year-old baby as still in the womb, more or less. I mean, he thinks he went out, but we know the truth. So who's right? There's different states of consciousness. Who's right? Go tell somebody, imagine you're in a fight with your brother, imagine you're in the womb. Imagine you're 1 year old. There's something very true about it. Imagine you're 1 year old, you were playing around, killing each other in the dining room, running around the way 1 year olds run around. But now, now he's Rabban shel kol bnei hagoyla. I can't talk to you. So it's a different state of consciousness. So in the world, in the higher world of Atzilus, there's 600,000 and 288 sparks. V'shamim gamkin misper samach ribin neshamas klolim, like the root of a tree, collective souls. Shem tzrichim levarer reish peches chalakim g'daylim. And these 600,000 souls are given 288 sparks, but they're big particles. Heinan itzutzes shebatzilus. Those are the sparks in Atzilus. So kamay shalamato, but the way it devolves downward, nisraba misper neshamas kanal. The number of souls increases, as we said. Kach nisraba moedan itzutzim. The sparks also increase to thousands upon thousands of smaller particles. Therefore, the gullus continued. All the birurim were not yet complete. You're dealing with much more than 288. When this birur is complete, the goyel, the Redeemer, comes speedily in our days. Amen. The birurim of the rapach netzutzim, the way they are in the world of Asiya. V'hinei ksiv, the pasuk says, Marabu masecha Hashem, kulam b'chachma sisa. Every morning. Wow, your creation is so diverse. Rabu, it's so diverse. It's amazing. The diversity and the minuscule diversity. And when you look at it at a granular level, how much the ribuy is beyond imagination. Kulam b'chachmasis. Everything was made with wisdom. Literally, it means there's so much wisdom in everything. Pirush, what we're saying in davening is, the multiplicity created through the shattering of the vessels. In all created beings in Briya Yitzirasi, especially in Asiya, where here the multiplicity and the fragmentation is greater than anywhere else. Every single creature is distinct from its neighbor, from its other, and that's how it's defined. It's defined by the I, in contrast to the thou, to you. Yesh v'nifred, the MO, the modus operandi of every nivra in Asiya is that it's a yesh. It has its own ego to protect as something separate from everybody else and anything else. That's what the merabu means. Marabu doesn't only mean diversity. Marabu means the endless diversity and multiplicity and differentiation and division and fragmentation and ego. V'kulam b'chachma sisa. But all of them b'chachma sisa. Asisa u'loshen tikun. In Lashon Kodesh, asisa doesn't only mean made, it means fix. We have in Parshas Kiseitze, v'asisa es tziporneha. He said she does her nails, right? But does means, as Rashi explains, and Mefarshim say, from the word tikkun, repair, fixing. Marabu masach Hashem. Kulam, all of them, b'chachma asisa. Tikkun. Shaydei ha'chachma mistakne b'bchinas olam ha'tikkun. Chachma allows for there to be the tikkun, the repair, the unity. The hainu shaydei ha'chachma. Through the awareness of Chachma, Magia v'nimshach behem ha'bittel. You can introduce into the fragmentation, to fragmented world. The bittel, what do we mean the bittel? The bittel means the cessation of the sense of egotism and separateness, liyos p'telim b'nichlolim elav yisbarach. To be aligned with him. For liyos, therefore, mischabrin yachad ayedeza, and therefore to be aligned with themselves and with each other. V'lo yiyu mefuradim. Without the division that characterizes the symptoms of Shvir Sakel. Marabu masach Hashem. That's the reality you're dealing with. But now there's a new idea. Kulam b'chachma sisa. With chachma, there's the world you create a tikkun. V'zehu avodas ha'Yisrael. And this essentially defines the mission statement of Judaism, the mission statement of the Jew. V'zois Toras ha'adam. This is the entire Torah of the human. This is the Torah of the human. I put in the word entire. This is the Torah of the human being. Zois Toras ha'adam. Levarer birurin u'lahaloisan mebchinas ha'pirud la'achdus Hashem. What is Toras ha'adam? What is the mission statement of the human being, of the Jew? Levarer birurin. Levarer birurin means to create clarity. The word boirer, right, from the word borer is to sift, to dissect, to divide, to clarify, to create birurim. What does this mean? Lahaloisan mebchinas hapirud la'achdus Hashem. To sublimate and elevate every aspect he or she encounters, beginning with yourself and the world around you, from a state of pirud, from a state of isolation, separation, division, fragmentation, to a place of oneness. The oneness of reality, the oneness of Hashem. V'zeu, this is the meaning of the pasuk, and we say it every Shabbos afternoon by Mincha. As Shabbos is concluding, we say the following pasuk. Now we see it's easy, you read these things, to miss the insight. What's the pasuk? Everybody knows the pasuk. Ata echad, v'shimcha echad, u'michamcha Yisrael ga'echad ba'aretz. You're one, your name is one. And who is Michamcha Yisrael, right? Whenever there's a story on the internet about the Jewish people, there's always that line, Michamcha Yisrael. Who is like your nation, Israel? Goy echad ba'aretz. One nation on earth, or more accurate would be a unique nation on earth. Like you say, you know, he's a yeled miyuchad, a special child, a special nation. Goy echad ba'aretz. It's like a designated, unique nation on earth. And if you don't believe it, you can ask the anti-Semites. That's the literal pasuk. You're one, your name is one, and who is like Yisrael? That's a goy echad, a unique nation on earth. What's the connection between the first half of the pasuk and the second half of the pasuk? We're talking about all the special things. You're one, your name is one, and your nation is unique. Says the Baal HaTanya, there's a much deeper idea that the Navi is saying. Pirush. Ata hainu mohusoi v'atzmusoi yisbarach. You are one, is talking about his essence. Shu yachid meyuchad baruch hu, he's one and singular. V'shimcha, what's your name? What's your name is one? What do you mean your name is one? You're one, your name is one. What's shimcha? Shimcha b'chinas haziva oira mispashit memenu hanikre oirein soif baruch hu gam ken echad b'tachlis. Shimcha is not ata. Ata is your essence. Shimcha is your name. What's the name? The name he defines as the ray and the light that is articulated from the divine Godhead, from Hashem himself, called the Oir Ein Sof Baruch Hu, the Oir of the Infinite One. What is light? What is the definition of light? Just like the sun gives off its ray, which allows the sun to have an impact on whatever that light comes in contact with. So we can have light, brightness, we could see, can have the heat, the warmth, the energy, whatever the sun gives. Everything emits light. The light represents how something travels outside of itself and impacts. It's light, literally, light frequencies that travel and are emitted from anything, from this cup and from this book and from me. Everything has its oir, and that's called hispashtus, the way your energy travels and impacts whatever it does, in whatever way it impacts it. What's Hashem's name? Hashem's name is the way God's energy becomes a source for creation. And that's what the function of a name is. For yourself, you don't need a name. The reason I need to speak to you through your name, you don't call yourself, you say, Chaim, it's morning. I mean, some people do it. But if you lived yourself on an island, you like doing it. If you live yourself on an island, you don't have to call yourself by name, right? But there's also bigger, name represents your reputation. We all know others' names. I don't know you, I know your name. I know what I see. What about Ata? To get from Shimcha to Ata is not so simple. It could take a lifetime and a few. That comes from Hashem. Ata Echad and Shimcha. Even your name is Echad. The divine energy that is articulated in the whole universe is also one. There's no multiplicity. There's no fragmentation. It's all one. Einoid Malvade. Not only you're one, your name is one. But here we have to get stuck. No one knows this. Ata Echad, V'Shimcha Echad. Nobody knows it. So he says, Umicha Amcha Yisrael Gayechad Ba'aretz. Dahainu, Sheheim Oisim Pchines Echad Afilu Ba'aretz. You are one. Your name is also one. But nobody knows it. Look at the Eretz. The word oneness is the last word you're going to define Eretz with. Not your own land, not other people's land, not the world. Remember, it's the world of Asiya. Everything is about selfishness. And even selfishness in a very benign way. We're not only talking about abrupt, brute narcissism. That also is very popular in our world. But the whole attitude, the intuitive experience is an experience of division and fragmentation, even within myself, never mind with others. So the source of creation is one. But creation is all about the opposite of one. Right? From one came many. And the many defines the story of creation. But wait, Yisrael, here comes the contribution, the revolution that's created by Yisrael, Goy Echad Ba'aretz. It's the nation that reveals Echad. We're in the terrain of Eretz, the terrain of earthiness, which is defined completely by Shviras HaKelim. There, this nation reveals, excavates, explores, and ultimately finds the harmony, the Echad. From one comes many, and then comes the avoida of the person, Zoyes Teres Adam. From many, one. What does it say on the dollar? E pluribus unum. You look at the dollar, Isaac, and you'll see. Today, when you spend some money, look at the dollar and you'll see. From many, one. So it's almost like the pole. You know, you have the North Pole and the South Pole. On the top, you have complete oneness, and then complete fragmentation. And then the human being comes in and says that now we're going to bring back everything to oneness, everything back to Echad. Even though in Eretz you have the greatest fragmentation, Kanal. Here everything is full of fragmentation and multiplicity. The definition of avoid, the definition of Torah is to make it one. This is what it means. They elevate all the sparks that fell down in Shviras HaKelim. They all become sublimated and elevated in the oneness of Hashem, because really, no spark is divided from any other spark. No soul is divided from any other soul. No angel is divided from any other angel. It's all complete oneness. Shviris HaKelim doesn't allow us to see that oneness, because we find a new interpretation of reality, because the vessels have been shattered, and we now seek a new identity, because I don't know who I am, so I have to search for myself. Ayeka, who am I? So the Beis goes to therapy and suddenly tries to come to peace with being a detached Beis. And the Reish goes to therapy, and after many, many years, the Reish is working very hard to be comfortable as a detached Reish. And the same is true with the Vav and the Chaf. Before that, they didn't need this. They didn't need this because they knew exactly who they were, and they were very comfortable with who they were. Who were they? They were expressions of oneness. But in this sense of fragmentation, I experienced the trauma of isolation and separation, and now I seek a substitute identity as a detached creature. Really, I'm seeking divine attachment with Achdus Hashem, Einoid Molvada, Ein Soif. But I don't know it. I've been broken. Part of the brokenness is I don't even know who I am. I don't know. If I would know who I am, I wouldn't be broken, right? Now, brokenness could be on many levels. How broken? There's brokenness Bria, brokenness Yitzira, brokenness in Asiya. And in the ultimate Shvira of Asiya, the period reaches a crescendo of individuality. And all I seek is individuality. And more individuality means less you, more me. Less you, more me. Less you, more me. Boundaries, 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 boundaries. Yes, exactly. And I say thank you. And I leave, but I'm still miserable. Because individuality, when it's taken out of context, actually deprives me from me. Because the nitzutz is not separate. There's no 288 nitzutzes. There's no endless particles. There's one. There is one. But that's not true. There are endless particles. Depends what glasses I'm wearing. Every year in physics, the world becomes more unified, and today they're looking for the string theory. The string theory is the one theory that is responsible for everything. In other words, there's oneness. Everything is a manifestation of oneness. That was and is the revolution of what Judaism is trying to accomplish. To create the echad ba'aretz. From one came many, and then you look at this world and you say, and from many, we create one. Okay.
One person is, you need a lot of Jews together. Can't be one person.
Well, everyone has their nitzutzas that they're given. So we do it together, but we also do it alone. Every person has what's called their sparks. Their oneness and the sparks that they deal with and the people they deal with. And you have your family, you have yourself, you have your home, you have your work. Yeah. Then there's, of course, what we do with others. It's both are very true. Just like in halacha, there's things you do b'yachid, there's things you do b'tzibur. Yeah, but humanity was much smaller. He's speaking in Klal Yisrael, it's only Samach Reish. They all have nitzutzas. Everyone has a nitzutz. Every rock has a spark, every animal. Certainly a person is B'Tselem Elokim. I'm not understanding the question. He doesn't mean in this world. In this world, nobody was split to four. He means in Brian, it's a completely spiritual place. In this world, there's no four. When you speak about Bria doesn't mean a physical world. It's a certain way of seeing the world.
Different virtual reality.
You understand what I'm saying? It's like you put on glasses. No. That's what it means. In other words, for example, just an example, like in chemistry, you'll speak about if you ask what the world is made of, what exists on our planet, right? What doesn't? I mean, you start off, what exists in the water? I mean, everything has, every creature, every living organism, and no, people can't even enumerate it. How many species of insects are there? Anybody knows how many species of insects are there? And how many?
Many.
Yeah, I think we know, and there's much more. But I think we know about 1.5 million different species. But each species has endless diversity. How many people could name more than 20? How many types of trees are there? So it's endless. Now, but if you talk about from a deeper perspective, what are they made up of? The deeper you go, the numbers are going to decrease and decrease and decrease. But even from a scientific point of view, the deeper you go to the shirish, right? Yeah, you go to molecular level, atomic level. In chemistry, you go to a subatomic level, right? The same is true in a person. You look at a body, there's so much going on. Then you go back to the cell, what's called the cellular level. Yeah. And each cell, you go back there. So what happens? All the diversity is there, but it shrinks in terms of multiplicity. Same is true in the world of psychology, right? A psychologist will tell you, and I'm not discussing if they're right or wrong completely. They may be a little right, they may be a little wrong. He'll tell you, I have seen over 60 years, 10,000 people. Every one of those people was sure that their story is unique, right? So in psychology, he says, most people are dealing with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 problems. So 10,000 people, he turned into 6 cases. This one needs validation, and this one is looking for self-esteem, and this one needs love, and this one needs boundaries. That's it. There's the Abraham Maslow pyramid. But 7 billion people. No, there's one pyramid. You're just represented this way, represented this way. So we see even Parshas and Chachmas Chitzonius, the deeper you go into reality, the more you see the what's it called? The archetypes, the archetypes, the paradigms. It's a manifestation of a certain law of nature. Now, it doesn't mean that individuality is not important. It's very important. But it's a manifestation of a larger pattern. And it's very important to know those patterns, because if you don't know those patterns, you can't understand the individual expression. You go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until you reach the Nekuda of Echad. Goy Echad Baretz. Verstehst du, Rabbi Isaac?
What's the name of Hashem in itself? 72. I miss. Name of Hashem in itself.
Well, you have Av, and you have Sag, and you have Ma, and you have Bam.
Yeah, but in Atzilus is what? Av?
Well, Av is Keser, and Ma is Chachma. It's in Atzilus itself.
So what is it?
Okay, we can explore that. Why 288? It's a very good question. Arizal discusses it. That's true. Einoid Mulvada. There was no experience of oneness, but there was oneness. There was oneness because there was nothing outside of oneness. Everything is one. Yeah. There's Geula Pratis and Geula Klalos. Essentially, the Geula Klalos is a critical mass of individuals reaching a Geula Pratis. Zestach that the Balatanya himself was astounded by the length of Galus, and
I guess out that it's not rushed by Ches, he's okay, that it's going to take long.
I wouldn't use the word okay. He's just saying that It's not pshat that it's a mistake, that it's a never-ending process. That's his point. It's like 288. So what is this? So Olam Vod was with 288.
He left something that actually can bring this.
Yeah, that's
Sparks.
I thought it was in Tzios, it's oneness. And once you hit ban of Tzios, that's what
Yeah, that's what we mean. Ban of Atzilus. Yeah. That's what he meant. Yeah, Ban of Atzilus, which is Malchus of Atzilus, which is the source for Bria. Yeah.
But until that point,
Until it's one. There's no 288. Yeah, that's, yes. That's when it's shattered. The vessels are shattered, and with each shattered piece, there's a spark that's also shattered, so to speak, fragmented. And how many pieces? How many particles? 288. And that's Mirachefes, which is Reish Peches Meis. 288 go through what's called a death process. And why we call it death is because it's unrecognizable. It's detached from its source. It doesn't feel that lifeline. It's not connected anymore in its from our perception. That's why it's called mace. Yeah, the difference of shvira and not shvira.
I'm not there.
Yeah, the difference of shvira and not shvira is really a difference of perspective. Das, chachma. It's chachma. When there's chachma, there's no shvira anymore. Kulam b'chachma sissa. When there's the insight of chachma, the epiphany of chachma, which is the divine clarity of things, there's no shvira anymore. Shvira is always perception. You understand? You're one. Your name is one. Even your name is one. What's your name? Your name is the world. The way you articulate yourself in the universe. That's your name. How do I know God? I don't know his essence. I know his name. I know his reputation. How do I know a great architect? I look at his homes. How do I know a great artist? I look at his pieces of art. How do I know a great writer? I read his books. How do I know a great speaker? I hear his speeches. How do I know a great dancer? I see him dance, etc. Right? I know him through his names, through his expression. What's happening inside his soul? I don't know. I don't have access. He may also not know. So Ata Echad. V'Shimcha is also Echad. It's all one. What changed is a process called Trias HaKelim, which simple English means Hashem allowed us to have a perception of division. There was no perception of division. There was no division. The Achdus was the only reality. But now we have a perception of fragmentation, of machloikas, of pirud, of ribui. Each world more and more and more until this world where it reaches the peak of fragmentation and isolation. The trauma of Shrius HaKelim is shattered. It's like when the keli is shattered, it breaks, it still has 2-3 pieces, and then it breaks that last time, and it's all over the place. And now you gotta go bring the pieces together.
That's what we're doing. The reality of one big game. So you're just a pixel in that game.
But it's not just a pixel, it's a divine pixel. And this is, so he says, it's not just in the person, it's in the nitzutz alaki, it's in the shamas, it's in malachim, it's in koiches alakim. The divine energy, so to speak, goes through the breakage. I shimcha echad, but that's what Shrius HaKelim means, that the base does not recognize itself as part of Baruch. And it seeks a new identity, because its neshama is not revealed. The oir is not revealed anymore. The kelim are shattered. So now the keli says, who am I? Starts looking for itself. What's the Goy Echad Baretz? The Goy Echad Baretz is the ones who come into the Eretz, and they're Megala, the Achdus in the Eretz. In the Eretz, in this earth. Earth is defined by material reality, which is completely defined by multiplicity and fragmentation, Ribui and Pirud. This is the Goy, the nation, that has the capacity to reveal the Echad in the Eretz. And that's different and deeper than Ata Echad V'Shimcha Echad. Ata Echad V'Shimcha Echad didn't withstand Shrius HaKelim. Shrius HaKelim put an end to that. The Goy Echad Ba'aretz is those who revolutionized the landscape of planet Earth to make from the many one.
So we need the Einsteins.
The first taste?
So we need the Einsteins. So we have to produce the Einsteins.
even when
Every Einstein is a Jew. Every Jew is Einstein in his own way.
Right. But we see a lot of times that
They don't know this.
the way we go in our education, we go from tikkun to kilkul. We would destroy everything.
That's what the Rebbe says. V'zois avodas Yisrael, v'zois Torah Adam. He says this is the Torah of Yiddishkeit. This is the Torah of Yiddishkeit. To be able to see the symphony of creation, to turn creation into a symphony, a singing symphony, to look at the marabu and say kulam b'chachma asisa. It's all a dancing symphony. And as in a symphony, there's complete synchronization, even though there's so many different musicians and so many different instruments. But the reason is because there's a director. Imagine a conductor. Imagine the conductor says, I'm out of this place, right? So what happens? Chaos, complete chaos. But in a proper symphony, we're very different. I'm on the drums, you're on the cello, he's on the violin, he's on the guitar. Yeah, but we're completely working together. And it doesn't mean I'm not an individual anymore. I have to play the violin. If I start playing the flute or the harp, I'm compromising the symphony. I have to play the violin. But somehow you're not my competitor. I'm not wishing that you're dead. Get out of my seat, get out of my hall, get out of my thing. On the contrary, I want you. Your music helps my music helps your music because it's one symphony. But without that conductor, it breaks up, it breaks down.
But in symphony, the people who play the music know it.
Yeah, I know.
Over here, I don't.
And that's the point. That's why we're learning it. But that's really what we're talking about. And it's true with the whole world. It's true with the whole world. Remember, the netzutzas are everywhere. The netzutzas are in rocks and in ants, right? And in trees and in boulders and in stars and in galaxies and in planets and in every cell. In every jinnam, there's netzutzas. Nothing could live without netzutzas. Netzutzas is the divine particles. And it's really a very also elegant language. He keeps on saying how the divine energy is divided into particles. Everything is particles, right? And really it's all one. That's the language. The language is particles. But if you go deeper, all the particles are just an articulation of oneness. That's what's so powerful here, because it's much of the language of science today. The more our glasses are becoming refined, the more we get to see how all of the diversity of creation is just a manifestation of oneness. I use the term symphony. The string theory is called string. You know why it's called string? Because basically, it's like they almost compare it to a violin that vibrates. And those vibrations are the triggers behind the entire universe. So you're looking at endless multiplicity, but you're really just looking at the way oneness is articulated in different ways through different frequencies and different antennas that we could pick up. That's it. You understand? And the more we refine our kalim, our perspectives, the more everything goes back to echad. The more distant we are, the more our glasses are tainted, the less we see that. At a very surface view, it's always just division. A deeper view, there's more unity. On the deepest level, as you go deeper and deeper, and the doors of perception are cleansed, the individuality of every nivra is an articulation of a certain vibration of oneness.
Was it Majid Rebbe that said that everyone has its own meaning? That's pretty much.
Reb Nachman, I think. Lekutei Maharan, Reb Nachman of Eslov says, everything has a niggin. He says every grass has a niggin. And it's playing a niggin. It's a vibration, yeah? It's a vibration. Yeah, Lekutei Maharan, he says it. Als beseder, Shemagala gewend de achdos. And davening. What's davening? That's what davening is. What's davening?
Well, that we don't know.
Davening is, a Jew wakes up. What are you davening for? Every day the same thing? It's like, oh, here we go again. It's very boring for so many people. But it's really a very profound experience. It's, you wake up, you're confronting a world of fragmentation. And really you're starting a revolution. Yeah, but every day you're starting it. And what is it? Basically, all of davening is a declaration of oneness. You're protesting the external nature of reality. That takes courage. It takes courage. Because so much of you is screaming, no. This is it. And you're really protesting it. We all have that screaming part. Including laziness. Laziness is also part of that. Laziness means I'm detached, I'm not interested. What do you mean I'm not interested? I'm not connected to anything. Just leave me alone. I want to go eat, I want to go watch, whatever. And you're protesting that within yourself. You're saying that's the external facade. On a deeper level, I want oneness, right? And when you do this, sometimes it takes discipline, you experience the oneness. And there's a certain delight and pleasure that comes your way. But when we are in a lot of pain, we create substitutes because we're in so much pain. So we have to deny the pain, the source of the pain. So we create substitutes. If I really want to be close to you, I want to be very close to my father, my mother, or my wife, or my husband, or my child, or my best friend. But we're not. We're not. So instead of saying I'm in pain, what I say is I don't need you anymore. You're a lowlife. You're a sick person. I really don't need you. You understand? I want to seal the pain. It's too much. So I break off from you. I detach from you, and I just put a seal on it. But really what's happening is I'm just reacting to that pain, and I'm doing everything just to distract myself from it. In other words, I create a substitute identity which is false. Of course you want to be close to your father. He's your father. She's your mother. She's your wife, your child. Estrangement is not an option. Estrangement is not an option. So don't create a substitute reality. Be in this reality and confront the pain of the shvira. But that's hard. But you understand what I'm saying? We romanticize our isolation because it's too painful to acknowledge how much connection we need. So we romanticize it. It's like, I don't need anybody. I don't need anybody. Now I'm good, so to speak. You understand all this? Huh? Yeah, false illusion. And we understand why. It's too painful not to be in that false illusion. Shvira is painful. It creates a trauma. So now we create a double trauma by not acknowledging that there's a trauma. I don't acknowledge it, so I create a new trauma. And in many ways, it's worse than the first one. Because the first one you could confront and say, this hurts. And how do I repair it? How do the Beis and the Reish come back together? And the second one, the Beis says, I don't know who the Reish is. I never heard of him. I don't know who you are. I never heard of you. You're my mother? Nah, there's no such a thing. I was hatched. You understand? So we run from the other people, but we're really running from ourselves. Because if I'm part of Baruch and I run away from the Reish, I'm running away from myself. I'm running away from my song. And we understand why people run away. For them, Baruch is not Baruch, it's Arur, it's a dysfunctional word. I don't want to be part of a dysfunctional family, so I run away. Right? And sometimes running away in certain situations is your only option. If the word is Baruch, you shouldn't run away. But if the word is Arur, which means a curse, you should probably run away. But it's a painful reality. So it's not so simple. I'm just saying this is all how it plays itself out in people's lives in a very acute way. Okay, I think enough for one day, no? You have enough work for today? So let's go daven and try to find the unity.
This class is brought to you by theyeshiva.net. Please help us continue the classes. Make even a small contribution at www.theyeshiva.net slash donate.